your dreams.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Genshin Impact video, and today I'm just going to be doing a review of Sumeru since Fontaine is almost here and we're basically done. With the Sumeru chapter, I'm just going to be going over on what Sumeru has provided for us in Genshin Impact. By the way, if you happen to like the content, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It'd be greatly appreciated. It'll really help me out. I think Sumeru has been one of the greatest patches of all time in Genshin Impact, and I don't think any other region can or will compare to what we got in Sumeru. Sumeru gave us the introduction of Dendro, a new element that basically changed the game. I don't know what Genshin could have been if they introduced Dendro on day one, but I think Hoyoverse did a really good job at handling Dendro. In my honest opinion, I think Dendro is like the second best element in the game. It's a really good free-to-play element. It doesn't really require too much investment. I did predict a long time ago on my old channel that Dendro will save Electro, and it really did. Electro now has a really good footing in the game due to Dendro. It's still kind of a shame that Dendro doesn't react with Anemo, Cryo, and Geo, but you know, it is what it is. It would be kind of awkward if they like introduced those reactions now, but you know, what happened has happened. Dendro also saved Elemental Mastery from being almost borderline useless, because before Dendro came out, Elemental Mastery was only really good for like two characters, Sucrose and Kazuha. But now Elemental Mastery is actually very useful in Dendro teams, since most Dendro reactions do rely on how high your Elemental Mastery is. So it's good to see that Elemental Mastery now has a pretty good use. Now as for the characters in Sumeru, we've gotten some pretty great characters. I think Nahida might be the best Sumeru character we've gotten, and it's kind of like a no duh since she is the Dendro Archon. She is a really good Dendro driver and enables Dendro reactions, and she can also boost your party's Elemental Mastery, something that Dendro needs. I think Nahida is the best Sumeru character we've gotten. Nilou is also pretty good. She's also very free to play friendly, since all you gotta do is just put HP on Nilou. Even though she is restricted to Bloom comps only, she's really great at what she does. I don't have Alhaitham, but I've heard some pretty great things about Alhaitham. I've seen people compare him to Hu Tao and Ayaka. I also heard Tighnari is pretty good for a standard character. The Dendro Traveler is pretty good. Faruzan is an excellent Anemo support. Even characters that are not from Sumeru like Yao Yao, Baiju, and Kirara, those are pretty good Dendro characters. So we've had some pretty great characters with Sumeru, and we've also had like a few bad ones like Candace, Dory, and Dea. But not every character needs to be good. You know, when there are winners, there are also going to be losers, and that's just life. I'm still a little surprised that we don't have a new Geo character with Sumeru, especially since majority of Sumeru is the fucking desert. You'd think we'd get like a Geo character that can like manipulate sand or something, but still no Geo, so that's kind of weird. Now, as for Sumeru exploration wise, Sumeru was really fun to explore in my honest opinion. Although it did get kind of stale when majority of the new maps that we got in Sumeru are all, you know, basically all desert. I don't mind desert areas, but we definitely had too much desert in Sumeru. I was kind of expecting Sumeru to be more of a, well, I mean, we've had like the jungles and stuff, but I was hoping for more jungle stuff in my honest opinion. You would think that Natlan would have more desert than any other region, since Natlan is like very hot and shit, but you know, Sumeru so far we've had like a lot of desert. And considering since Sumeru is the land of Dendro, the land of plants, you would expect it to be a lot more junglery than deserty. Sumeru is probably one of the biggest fucking regions we've had so far. Not only do we have like the jungles and the desert, we've also had like the underground areas, which made the region a lot more bigger than it should be. It would have been nice if they introduced like the underground map a lot sooner. I don't know why they didn't think of that sooner. At least they're thinking about it now, but it would have been nice to have that feature sooner. But overall, Sumeru was pretty fun to explore. Sometimes when I go to other regions, I would like look around for the like the Dendro Spider-Man thing. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm so used to exploring Sumeru, like I'm so like accustomed to looking around for the, you know, for the Dendro Spider-Man thing. Now, Sumeru story-wise, I think we've had the best story in Sumeru. I think it's better than Liyue's. I think it's better than Inazuma's. Before Sumeru, Mondstadt's story was my favorite story, but yeah, Sumeru's story is now my personal favorite. By the way, if you haven't finished Sumeru's story, then you should probably click away right now. The first part of the Sumeru story was amazing. It was basically, you know, us stuck in like a time loop, and we're basically trying to figure out how to get out of the time loop with Nahida. And whenever we thought that we were out of the time loop, it turns out that we were not actually out of the time loop. So the only way to get out was to find out whose dream it was, and it turns out it was Nilou's dream. So we basically had to like convince Nilou that she was in a dream in order for us to get out of the time loop. And then we eventually confronted Dotori. I think Dotori was a pretty great villain. It was a shame that we didn't get to see like his other clones. I think it was kind of like shitty writing for them to like get rid of his clones without actually ever showing us his clones. What was so fascinating about Sumeru's story is that it kind of breaks the norm of how other regions operate. The other regions basically worship their gods, even if their gods weren't really there, like for Venti and Zhongli, they were hardly ever there. And in Inazuma, the Archon there was basically like the main antagonist. But in Sumeru, we do go back to helping out the local Archon. However, the people of Sumeru don't even worship Nahida. In fact, a majority of the citizens don't even know that Nahida has existed. So it does break the norm of how other nations operate. And I think one of the major focuses in the Sumeru story is kind of like the artificial versus reality type deal, because the Sumeru scholars basically wanted to make an artificial god instead of worshiping their real god. And the citizens of Sumeru were so engrossed with their technology that they didn't even know that they even had a god. They weren't even aware of what the Sumeru scholars were really up to. And once Nahida basically disabled their version of Google Glasses, the citizens didn't really know what to do. I believe in like Nahida's first quest, there was like this dude that was like trying to get people linked back into their Google Glasses or whatever. And Nahida, by the end of the quest, was basically saying, you know, stop fucking coping with this Google Glasses shit. Learn to face reality yourselves. Anyways, the Sumeru chapter was great. It's the best one we've had, in my opinion. In conclusion, Sumeru has had the best changes in Genshin Impact. I don't know how other future regions can compare to Sumeru. I think Sumeru was probably the most important region patch that we've had so far. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to agree, disagree. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys later.
Bye-bye now. Come again soon.